How's it going, everyone, and welcome to a brand new series I'm doing called Toy Photography Breakdown. In every toy photography breakdown video, I'm going to be breaking down every step of the toy photography process, from the creative ideas, the setup, execution, and even the editing, and I'll be going into as much detail as I possibly can. And I've got a really great idea for this toy photo today. It's going to be fun and funny, but cool, and also perfect for the Halloween season. So let's get started. If you've seen any of my toy photos or videos before, you'll probably know I love having figures interacting with life-size objects in my hands, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. With photos like that, you're not only creating a cool toy photo, but you're also creating something cool and funny for somebody to connect with when they see your photo and hopefully make them enjoy it even more. And I just love that about that type of photography. And also, you've probably seen I love doing very gruesome photos, but having the blood and gore be something other than blood and gore, kind of like the ketchup or the red Mountain Dew or something like that. So in this photo, we're going to be taking some very iconic and serious characters in a very comical way with some fake blood, but this time the blood is not Mountain Dew or ketchup, it's Twizzlers. I did a zombie-inspired photo recently, which made me think about blood and gore, and I was thinking about adding it to a toy photo, and I was like, well, what could I do? And then just kind of Twizzlers came to mind, and that's kind of where this is all coming from. So Jason Voorhees is going to be split in half. He's got guts coming out, and they're Twizzlers. So these are both Jason Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees figures by NECA, and I decided to take this one and rip it in half, kind of like this, and it's actually really funny if you squish him down. Look how short he looks. So this little piece here is actually something in the middle, his little stomach piece that I ripped out. I heated it up with a blow dryer so I could remove it, pulled it apart, and now we have a perfectly split in half figure. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to be using this one at all, really, but he's just kind of here for support. So if you get some of the classic Twizzlers pull and peel, they peel apart and they're perfect for like intestines or something, which really, that's where my inspiration came from. I mean, this is perfect. So my goal for the photo is to kind of have my hand in it, and I'm pulling Jason apart like this, and he's got Twizzlers hanging from him like they're guts coming out of him. And that's gonna be funny because it's guts. But I'm also going to be adding in the Twizzlers packaging and some of them around him just to make it clear that, yes, these are Twizzlers. And that's kind of the joke of the photo. So you see the guts happening, and then you see the Twizzlers, and you're like, oh, the guts are Twizzlers. Ha ha ha. That's the point. So I was messing around with these a little earlier, and the Twizzlers themselves are very sticky. They stick to each other so well, and I'm thinking I won't really need anything to stick this to it. I can just use the Twizzlers themselves. I'm gonna just start sticking it on his base here and create some guts kind of like that, and we'll see where it goes. And do not worry, no Twizzlers will be going to waste today. Okay, as far as the guts coming out of his legs, I think that's pretty good. So far, I haven't needed anything but Twizzlers to make this happen, so that's pretty cool. So let's move on to getting some inside of him. Okay, here are his guts hanging down. It actually looks kind of good. So I think I'm gonna bite a couple of them off so they're not all so long. It looks, I don't know, a little bit more uneven there like that. And I think he'll be ready. Okay, I think Jason is officially ready to go. So let's start setting up the shot. Okay, so I'm all set up finally for my photo, and I took a couple of test shots, and so far it's looking pretty great. And so here's what I've got here. I've got lights all over the place. Mostly I have them backlit, so then I get some nice rim lighting behind them. I almost always try to have things backlit. An easy way to make subjects pop. I have a whole tutorial on how I do that. All that stuff, it's all linked here in the description. It's the best way to make your lighting pop and your figures pop, and all you gotta do is light them from behind. So I've got some from the side here, and from the back. And I also have one from here because I'm gonna have my hand up here, and see how it kind of gives a cool lighting to my hand. Just trying to make it look dynamic here. And then there's a big whiteboard right there to bounce some extra light back forward on him. And I even put this one light back behind here so I can even get some nice little rim lighting around the back of his legs over here. And I managed to scatter a bunch of Twizzlers and other candy all over the place to make it look like a mess. And I put some in a jar next to him so I can clearly have the Twizzlers sign symbol there. Twizzlers, if you want to sponsor me, go for it. But it's not sponsored by Twizzlers, unfortunately. So I got the symbol there. So since the symbol is present in the photo, it's gonna make it very clear that, oh, the guts that Jason has are Twizzlers. Haha, that's funny. All this equipment I'm using will be linked in the description. These are LumeCube. All the lights are made by LumeCube. You know I love them. If you want some discounts on all that stuff, head to the link in the description. There's 15% off of those. So the tricky part here is I'm actually gonna be holding the main subject in my photo, which is actually something I don't typically do. So if we go over here in camera, he's not there, but I put my little focus mark where I plan on holding it. So then when I do hold it, it will show up there. See what I mean? So that's the goal. Hopefully that comes out okay, but it's definitely gonna be quite tricky for that to happen. So to get everything in focus, I'm making sure that everything is within the focused line. I have a huge breakdown of the focused line in this video here if you want to check that out. But as long as everything is in the same line here, according to the camera, so we've got the Twizzlers thing, we've got the pants, they're all right on the same line there. And as long as they're all in the exact same focus line, with the Twizzlers and the camera, boom, everything will be in nice, perfect focus. And of course I'll be using my remote because I will not be able to do all of this stuff while touching my camera. And this is a great Bluetooth remote. There's plenty of universal remotes you can get for cameras, and they're very cheap, but this is the one that I use. So here are my camera settings here. I've got my shutter speed at 1/125. I know that seems high, but that's just kind of what I'm used to using, and so there we go. But my ISO is at 400, it's always at 400, and I have my f-stop a little low. It's at f2.8. I like that nice blurry background, and looks pretty good. I could go down to 1.8, but I want to have a little bit more focus area to make sure everything is in focus. Okay, let's go and actually take this shot now. Okay, so we're over here in the editing room, and this is how the photo is looking pre-edit. I think it looks actually pretty good. I'm actually quite happy with this, and it hasn't even been edited at all yet. So I've got a couple options here. I've got this one. I had a green light on the back of this one, but I'm not sure I like that one as much. I think I like the way Jason looks more in this one, and the green light's a little distracting. I think I'm still gonna go with this initial one here. But if you look on this one, I had my light down here with my rim lighting on his pants, but it died. The light died, so I didn't get the rim lighting in this one. So I'm gonna take the lighting from here and bring it over to here. So I'm just gonna take my lasso tool, basically just draw a box, Control C, and I'm gonna do Control Shift V. So I'm gonna make sure that it matches perfectly, so because it looks like it's a little bit off. Change the layer type to lighten temporarily so I can zoom in and find in exactly where it's off, and I can move it around with my little arrow keys on my keyboard. There we go. So while it's still on lighten, I'm going to grab my eraser tool because I am actually cutting off a little bit of my Twizzler on this side. And then I'm just going to go around and erase the hard edges. And so you can still tell it's a little bit too bright. So I'm going to go to the curves, image adjustments, curves. Pretty darn close now. To be honest, there's really not a whole lot I'm going to do with this one. So I'm going to merge these layers, merge visible, and then I'm going to go to filter and go to the camera raw filter, and then just do my edits here to make it look good. Let's go and bring down shadows a little bit, the highlights up a little bit, make that a little bit crisper. And if we go to the color, vibrance, just a little bit, and I really like what's under the effects tab here. Clarity and texture you can mess around with. All right, not a huge difference. Yeah, like I said, it's not gonna be a whole lot of changes going on here. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to accentuate some of the highlights in the photo with the dodge tool, which just brightens things up. Just going to zoom in and just brighten some of the edges here. Okay, I'm going to try something out here because I just want to add some type of extra flashy flare or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, Control-Shift-N, and just call it light. I'm going to draw a little box, and I'm going to fill it up with white. So if I go to Edit, Fill, I can just click white or change the whatever color I want to fill it with. Let's blur it. I'm just going to try and make it look like there's a light there. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, 50, great. Looks like there's some type of light coming from the background. We don't know what it is, it's blurred out enough. So let's merge the layers. And then let's add a lens flare there just to give it that extra little flashiness. So filter, render, lens flare, up here, like that. There we go. All we did was just add like a little bit of extra flare. So there's before, there's after. Just add something to it. I like it. All right, so the only thing left to do is add my watermark. So I'm just gonna use my text tool, type in Sirdork. Okay, great. So I need to make sure I crop this so I can fit it for Instagram. Very important. So Instagram, the right size is 4:5. I'm gonna be cutting off too much here. I'm gonna be cropping this photo too much, and I don't like that. So let's use the new generative expand that Photoshop has. So let's make it still 4:5. That's 4:5, it'll fit Instagram. And if we just double click, it'll fill in the edges for us. All right, and there we go. That looks really good. Okay, and here we go. Here is the final image here. So I plan on doing a whole lot more toy photography breakdown style videos like this one. So if you have any questions on how this process was or any suggestions for any further videos, please let me know in the comments below. I'd be really curious to hear. And if you did enjoy the video too, please drop a quick like on it. That would be fantastic and I'd be forever grateful. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.